Hope your day is off to a good start today as we journey through the Bible together. Uh, Thanks for joining us. This is Tim, your good friend and Bible teacher. Today, our scripture reading for today was in Proverbs chapter 4 to chapter 7. And boy, there is so much in these chapters. It was hard to kind of pick an area to think about for a few minutes today. But today we're going to look at Proverbs chapter 6, 16 to 19, things that God hates. Now, some people don't think of God as hating anything or anyone. I mean, doesn't God love everybody? Hear people say God hates sin, but he loves the sinner. Well, there's some things that God hates, and there's some people that God hates, and it comes out in this chapter, in these verses. If we love God, we'll also hate the things that he hates. Well, the writer of Hebrews here in chapter 6 outlines a 6-7 pattern of actions. There are 6 things that God hates, but the 7th one is the worst. It's an abomination, even. Let's look at those. Number 1 is a proud look. God hates pride. So much of evil begins that way. That was Satan's great sin. Isaiah 14:13 and 14 describes it. Says, Lucifer said in his heart, I will ascend into heaven, and I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, and I will also sit on the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north, and I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, and I will be like the Most High. And he passed that on to Adam and Eve and the rest of the human race. God hates pride. But that's not the worst. God hates a lying tongue, he says. You know, the word tongue or mouth or lips or words are mentioned in Proverbs almost 150 times. It's about 5 times on average for each of the 31 chapters. Because the way we use our tongue corresponds to the status of our heart. Jesus said in Luke 6:45, a good man out of the good treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is good, and an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is evil. For the abundance of the heart his mouth speaketh. That's not the worst. Number 3, it says God hates violence, hands that shed innocent blood. It's a reference to murder, those who take away the life of someone who is not guilty of a sin or crime that deserves that. The hands that shed innocent blood are defiled. As far as God, they deserve to die by the laws of God and man because they've destroyed God's image. They're like the devil who was a murderer from the beginning. But no, that's not the worst. Number 4 says a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations. The Bible talks about the heart about 300 times, and it's not talking about the muscle that pumps blood. It's talking about what a person is on the inside. So the Bible tells us that the heart is connected to the mind and will and understanding. It needs to be guarded against evil. But unfortunately, Jeremiah 17:9 says, the heart is deceitful above all things, and it's desperately wicked. Who can know it? But no, even this is not the worst. Number 5 is feet that be swift in running to mischief. Now, mischief may sound a little benign, kind of like a lovable rogue, but it's talking about evil. This is not someone who's trying to please God, but he just stumbles into sin, but somebody who just can't wait to put his evil plans that come from his evil heart into operation. Someone who runs to his own desires and failure to please God in that way. It means that God gave them up to uncleanness, we read in Romans 1:24. But that's not the worst. How about number 6? False witness that speaketh lies. You may think of a court case when we're talking about a false witness, and that can be appropriate, but it applies to everyday life. It's someone who breathes out lies, exactly what we think we are, a liar. Someone who bears false witness does one of 2 things. He spreads untrue information about other people, tearing them down, disrespecting them, or he misrepresents or perverts the truth about God. Well, God hates that, but it's not the worst. No, it's number 7. It's the one who soweth discord among brethren. God hates that the worst. This is the abomination in this list of 7 that we see here. That's why it closes out the series. Someone who sows discord among brethren, exaggerates the differences between people and minimizes their agreements. He exaggerates their offenses. He minimizes their kindness. He exaggerates weakness. He minimizes strength. He's always behind the scenes, trying to create a conflict where it shouldn't exist. God hates that. It's an abomination. Jesus said in John 15:12, "This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you." And we can see why when he sees what Jesus prays in John 17:23. As he comes to God, he asks that his people would be like the Trinity. He said, "I in them, and thou in me, that they may be perfect in one, and that the world may know that thou hast sent me, and hast loved them as thou hast loved me." That's why this is so important. The world looks at Christians, and what they see in us is going to uh, form their opinion about Jesus. Is he really sent by God or not? They can tell by the love that we have for each other, and they're kept away from God by the conflict that we see with each other. Well, our reading for tomorrow is in Proverbs chapter 8 to 11. Dig into the Word, be reading there, and I can't wait to be back with you again. Have a great day, folks, and I'll see you again very soon.